What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Fab, Freddie Fox, America's Big Brother, and we'll be back with another episode of the Saturday Night Sit Down. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Fab, and I'm here today with my boy Sam Singletary. And I appreciate you again, man, taking the time to do this. I know I kind of pulled you away from some things, but thank you so much for meeting with me tonight.
No, no problem, no problem.
So like I said, man, the whole reason, like I said, I try to do this podcast and stuff like that is because there's a lot of things going on. I said, like, with this younger generation and things kind of going off, and I feel that us as the OGs and stuff like that should really set a good example, to try to guide them down the right way. And like I said, and one of the reasons why I want to talk to you about is, again, I see you a lot from the outside. I know you have three boys. You've been married for quite some time now, and I see that you're just, the way you carry yourself and how you are is really an exceptional role model on how to be a great man and how to be a great role model. So I wanted to get your insight on a couple of those things to hopefully shed some light on these younger generation.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I would love to give my take or input on what it takes or what we can change or help change in regards to that aspect.
Awesome. So, like I normally do with all these things, man, I want to get your insight on what you believe. So, what are some of the main characteristics or some of the main qualities it takes to be a good man or a good person?
First and foremost is being a man of your word. If you say something, you got to stand on it or you got to do it. To me, that's everything. Um, Being transparent is also something that I think takes time, but it definitely is something I value. Meaning, like, let's say, for instance, for the first point, if I tell you, "Hey, listen, we have an engagement at this date," and something comes up, unfortunately, I have to stand on those words, and whatever I put to the forefront has to take charge. So, like today, we spoke in regards to doing the show, and I said yes, and then a million other things came up, but I told you yes, so I had to stop what I'm doing and take my time out and speak with you. Um, so though I've been, let's see, I've been raised by women, um, and black strong women, and morals are something that I definitely uh, believe I have. There's some things I just won't do, no amount of money or whatever can change that. Um, just having principles and being able to, if you say you're gonna do something, do it. But those are really important for me. Um, I think those are the main two for me. I think there's leeway with everything, but if you say something, you should do it, and you have to be able to find something in your heart and in your life that nothing should change your opinion on that.
No, absolutely, man. I agree with you. And again, I think, like you said, that's a good thing. Like, you started off with a man of your word. I know things came across today, and I appreciate, you said you gave me your word. She's going to be here. I know you had some couple of engagements, but you did pull yourself away to come here and do this show. So that's already showing, again, like, one of the characters that you have, and something that, again, just you being a man of your word and being transparent. Um, and like you said about, well, so I want to go back to, because like you said, being raised by women and stuff like that. I had the same thing. Is just my mom, my dad was home. You know what I mean? Like, my dad
Yeah.
was in the picture, and I was blessed enough to have him there every single day. But he wasn't that hands-on, in a sense. He was more, she showed me by example. You know what I mean? Like, he
Right,
didn't really
right.
sit down and talk to me about things or kind of put things here and there. He just did, and I just watched. But the majority of that was women. I was very close with, well, I am very close with my mother and my sister. My sister is 8 years older than me,
Okay.
but she's been my best friend. And a lot of times too, like, sometimes when people say the word mother to me and I close my eyes, like, she's the person that I see, because of that type of bond that we have.
Right.
And based on what you're saying, I feel like you can relate to that as well, right?
Yeah. So for me, it was my mom. My dad was in and out, just due to differences between him and my mom. And then things happen, and I wound up going to live with my grandmother and my aunt for a while. And again, two dominant women take charge. um, by any means necessary, and won't take no for an answer. And that kind of rubbed off on me. So that saying, "It takes a village to raise a child."
I say
I,
that all
I
the
was that
time.
I was that child in that village, and all they did was give me positive outlooks on life. So when you guys see me, you're like, "Yeah, you've been married for so long, or whatever." Um, I have an aunt who has been married. I was about 6, so about 30 years. I have another aunt that was married, I went longer than that, maybe like 42 years. My grandmother and my grandfather. So my grandfather isn't really my grandfather. He's he's who I knew since I was born,
Okay, okay.
and they've been together when my mother was a child, and he's been there
Mm,
ever since. So all I know is strong women and strong black love, and that's all I know. So when I see them, I know it, like everybody has their BS.
right,
Everybody, like
right.
you can't get around it, but they stuck it out.
Hmm.
And who am I to be any different? And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, because again, this is my second marriage. Um, but me and my first wife, we're on good terms.
Hmm.
It's just that we both jumped into a relationship, or a marriage, without the understanding of why,
Right, right. Okay.
which I think is very important.
No, that's awesome, and I feel the same too. I've been able to attest to that, to seeing that in my family too, and people who've been together for very long times, and a lot of people. And there's like a quote that I seen, and I'm sure that everybody reads, that this two old couple and stuff like that, and they ask, "How did you manage to stay so long?" And the response was, back in my time, when something broke, we tried to fix it instead of finding something new. You know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
that just really stuck to me, and I also felt like that too. I remember, and my mom could say this too, at a very very young age with myself. Like I said, I only want to get married once. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not thinking about multiple relationships and stuff like that. If I settle
Mhm.
down with somebody, it's for good. Come hell or high water, we're gonna work through whatever it is because of our problems and this, that, and the third. We gotta work that out.
Right.
And I seen that too. What I mean, like, I know with my parents, early on, I suppose in the last thing, they fought. I mean, like, physically, it got really really ugly.
Right.
But they still stuck it out, and what I mean, like, even at those, when they had those moments, my dad the next morning, he'll still come up and have her cup of coffee ready. He'd go out, turn on her car, get ready, like, despite whatever they was going through. You know what I mean? Like, and that
Mhm.
just was, again, he didn't
Shows
sit
you a
down and
good
tell me
man.
things. Right. He just showed me, like, you know what, regardless of what we're going through, like, this is your mother. I'm gonna respect her. I'm gonna show her love and stuff like that. I chose to be with her. We might be arguing right now, but we're gonna figure it out.
Right.
And I think that's just very, very important. Um, and I know, like, you briefly touched about, like, as far as, like, being raised by your grandmother and your aunt and stuff like that, about the morals that they instilled into you. I mean, what are some key morals you feel that you carried on with you till this day that they have instilled in you?
Family's one.
Mm,
Um, Family's a big one. Like what you see on probably Facebook, it's probably real. Like for me, um, I just came back from, was like, okay, party we were just at, where those are my friends, but 80% of that party are really close to me.
mhm.
We just played a adult kickball game. Like, you know what I mean? Like seeing someone unhappy, sad, and easy hurts me. It does.
Mhm.
Um, Seeing my wife upset hurts me. My kids, like my wife's mom, hurts me. And we might not always get along, but my respect level is so high for family. Like, family will, how, like that they say, it's always family that'll hurt you.
Mhm.
That's because you don't care enough about the people who aren't family.
Exactly. Exactly.
So like as far as morals, family's one. Um, my for me, my last name, my name, given name, my family's name means the world to me.
Mhm.
So I won't let you disrespect it, but I won't give you the opportunity to disrespect it. Meaning, I'm not going to half-ass with my name. If my name
Right.
is attached, I'm going to give it 110%.
Right.
So those are things that from a kid, like you work for everything you got, you work hard, and you value your family.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's one thing that for my mom who really instilled that with me is family because ever since I was young, whenever we she made it a point we go back to Puerto Rico every year to go see our family, spend time with them, go up. I mean, my house growing up was the spot to be at. Like all the parties, all the, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New
Yeah,
Year's, everything was at my house. You know what I mean? Like, and fights will break out and all this will go crazy. But the next party came out, everybody was there and showing love and being appreciative to each other and being grateful. So that was been as for me as a staple too, is just family. And that's why, like I said, when I want to get married, I know a lot of people always have they may have like goals like, oh, I want to be, a football star, or I want to be this, or I want to be all that. Like me really growing up, man, I just wanted to be a great husband and a great father. That was my aspiration. So, you know what I mean? Like to do that and have my family and care for them because of what my mom showed me,
right,
and how she handled things, and like you said, and I'll tie it into to it just to get a little personal as well too. I know, like you said, just being important and families the ones that's closest to hurt you, and just recently I had a huge emotional breakdown, because I just felt for a long time maybe a little distance from my mom and my sister, in the sense that I felt like, I'm always chasing them in a sense to spend time with them.
Mhm.
And it always feeling like I was put second compared to everybody else. Now,
Yeah.
and then that really stung me, and I carried that for years and really just caused me to lose it, a couple of weeks ago. But we were able to sit down and hash it out and talk to them, because again, like you said, that I mean, they're the ones I care about. I don't care about anybody else, people in the streets. You know what I mean? Like I have very close friends who I don't talk to like that. I mean, we still boys, you know what I mean? Like, that won't
Yeah,
change,
but it's
but it doesn't
different.
hurt me as much, you know what I'm saying? If they don't come around, if they don't call me, or if they don't check in on me, versus my mom and
Right,
my sister. It's just like, man, like, what I mean? That really, really cuts deep.
right, right.
Because of that they care about you so much and you care about them. Um, and I'm like you mentioned here, this just like your dad was in and out and stuff like that. I know this is part of the reason I do this shows because I know mostly all of my friends, their father weren't in the picture for one reason or another.
Yeah.
And I understood and I got to see firsthand how that impact could hurt or help or hurt somebody in that long run. And for you, with your father being in and out like that, like what was over your overall relationship with him?
So for my dad was in the military um before I was born. So the military instilled some things in him that were like, okay, we would say crazy. Like he very strict. Like I was yes ma'am, no sir, yes sir, which are good things to have in your vocabulary. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but it was like if me and him joking around, and I'm like no what, huh? Like what? So it was like I didn't get a chance to joke with my dad till we was older.
Right.
So
Right.
I became myself. He was more strict by the book. By the book. Like so when he was in, he was in. When he wasn't, he wasn't. I think that was the reason why as we got older, I never let him in
Mm.
because of I invested so much when I was younger. Like can't wait for my dad, and it wasn't the reaction I wanted. So when I got older, I didn't want. You weren't going to hurt me.
Mm.
So it was from that standpoint. Um, but I got that from uncles, grandfather. My grandfather was my world. He was
Mm.
my world. So quick story. I I was wrong. I wanted my mom sent me to my dad in high school. And I went down there to I'm from Baltimore. Went to Baltimore, and he said he raised me for school, and I I didn't go to school for like 3 weeks. I would leave, like I'm going to school,
Right. Right.
go to my cousin's house. I'm going to the Y playing basketball all day. I am not going to school. One day he goes to the schools to check up see how I'm doing. I'm not there. So he figures when I was young, basketball was life.
Hmm.
These other kids say it. No, no, no. Basketball was life. If it wasn't my basketball, I wasn't interested. So I was at the Boys and Girls Club playing. Um, and then we're playing, and the kids go, "Whose dad is that?" And I turn around, wham, right across the face. And
Oh.
and because people were there, I pushed him.
Mm.
He he looked at me. He went to go again, and I was fast. Took off, flying, running. I ran to my aunt's house, locked myself in her room, and I called my mother's family. And my grandfather, no, my uncle was there in about 20 minutes. Walked dead in their house, pistol loaded, to go get me, and went back to my house. Like those, I looked at them like my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he looked at me like I was one of his kids. Whether that was my dad or not, his kid was hurt. His kid was hurt, and something happened. He came to get me. So I said that to say, like, that's why I never let him in, because I felt like like as a kid, it felt like there was no love. Or if there was, it was minimal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so as we got older, our relationship became, it was okay. He met my first son. He wound up passing before my last one, but he met my first son, and I saw this side of him I never seen, like hugs, smiles, love,
Mm.
everything, like grandpa.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I appreciated it. Like I think we have one picture is me, him, and my son. The only picture we have together, and my son knows who he is and everything. So here, but um, because of that, because of the way I felt towards him, um, I always said I will. He fueled me to be the dad I am today. Like that absenteeism
Right, right.
fueled me to make sure I never miss a moment. So like them not being there has fueled me to first steps. I'm there. Um, like when my son, my first son was with his mom. I was, hey, I haven't missed a graduation, award ceremony, Christmas, Christmas play, nothing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
miss it. My other son goes to school in Stratford. I haven't missed anything. I won't. I won't allow myself to. They both play sports and they're pretty good. Won't miss a game. Today, I think tomorrow's the first game I'll miss, and it's eating me up. But there's no way I can be two places at once.
Right, right.
But yeah, I think his absentee is the reason why I go so hard. My wife would be like, "What about me?" I'm like, "You're mad at me because I'm being a dad?" Like, and she's like, "No, because I want you to be a husband," type of thing. But it's like, I get it, but I don't want to be in his class. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, no, I totally understand. I think, like I said, that, and like I mentioned, my dad was at my house and he was in the home with me, but he
Mhm.
never been to. I was in drama. He never came to any of my drama shows. Never came to any of my talent shows. Never came to any of my baseball. He was never there for any of those moments. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like he never came at all.
And we
Um,
remember. That's
oh
the thing. We
yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah. I mean, for my, and this was, I guess, a little different because when I graduated high school, his dad passed away, so he was in Puerto Rico, so he couldn't be there for obvious reasons. I understood
Yeah.
that, but when I graduated, like I took one of his shirts, his dress shirts, and I put it on, even though that was so small on me. You know what I mean? Like it was tight as hell,
It was your
but
dad.
I put it on because I was like, you know what, like he's got to be here some
Yeah.
way. And actually to my dad, and I told him when I got married with my wife, and we had a conversation. I sat him down. I said, listen, Dad, I understood. Now that I'm older, I get it. You know, he was never there for X, Y, and Z reason. Whatever, that's
Mhm.
fine. But I will not have you not show up to my wedding. We're gonna have some serious problems if you don't show up to my wedding. Like I don't care about anything else,
Yeah.
that you have to be there.
Was he there?
Um, he was there. He was there. Yeah, listen, from the moment from the start of the ceremony was like at like 4 o'clock up until like midnight. We was partying. And my dad
Yeah.
was there. He didn't find no excuse to leave or anything. He was there. He made sure he was there. So I was like, that kind of made me think of myself like maybe if I would have voiced that to him sooner, you know what I mean? Like all the what if,
Yeah.
could have, would have, should have. But I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm not gonna think about that. Like I asked him to be here for this moment, and he was here. He
He
showed
was
up. He
there.
he did everything I needed to do to be here. So I appreciate from that. But that
Right.
also kind of fueled me for myself too. Like I don't want to miss anything for my kids. You know, I went to every appointment. You know, for my daughter, for my son. You know, what I mean, through the whole pregnancy. Then the same thing too. I missed one appointment for my daughter, and it wasn't even that serious of an appointment, but I had to work. I couldn't get the time off, and it was eating me alive. You know what I mean, too, that I couldn't be there because I was like, I don't want them to ever think that I'm not going to be there to support them. And that's the reason why I started kind of doing my whole t-shirt thing and all this stuff, to be a stay-at-home dad, to be able to work from home and control my own schedule, because nobody's going to tell me when I can't be there for my kids. Like, I'm not
Right,
going to have that. There's no job going to do that for me. So I see that again, like how that kind of impacted us, seeing, that our dads not being there for whatever reason, wanting to do that for our kids. And I see that, like I said, like I on your Instagram and on your Facebook, man, and the football games, and,
yeah,
promoting your kids and all that stuff, and really doing the things that we wish our dad did for us. You know what I mean?
right.
Like, and that is, and I commend you for that, man. I mean, that just shows, you know, the type of person that you are. And,
There's a,
and
there's a bunch of people, on Facebook I had to see. There was a guy today. I happened to see. He was every time I see him, he's positive, positive, positive. And I see today, I think yesterday he posted a picture of him and his kids, and I was like, that's a beautiful family. I was like, keep it up. Just
mm-hmm,
the little things like that go
mm-hmm,
along. Like I don't try to. I don't do it for. It's not personal gain for me. It's not even me showing the world. It's just more of my excitement for my
right,
children.
right.
But I definitely think it is definitely what we wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and probably didn't get as much. We're gonna make sure we overdo it. We're gonna compensate for what we
Right.
didn't have.
Right. And it's fun, like you say that too, because with your wife and stuff about, being a dad and things like that. I remember before we even had kids, I looked at my wife and I told her, I said, listen, straight up, I want you to know, at the moment we have kids, you're no longer my number one priority. So let's just not be clear right now. Like, I mean, I love you to death, but be there, and I want that the same from you. You know what I'm saying? Our kids need to
Yeah.
come first before everybody, before us, before anything like that, because they're the most important thing in this world.
Right, right,
You know
right.
what I mean? Like, so it's not that I don't love them, that I don't care about it, stuff like that, but we have a bigger responsibility at this point.
Oh, my
You know what I mean?
my
Like, so
my youngest is my wife's favorite child. She tells everybody she don't care. Like his personality is so amazing for three.
Mhm.
He can articulate complete sentences, and you ask him a question, he can tell you what he meant. Like he's not like one word answers. No, he give you complete sentences, words he
Right.
shouldn't. And like I'm like, and she eats it up. And I guess she probably is the reason why he's like that, because she's been working with him since he was 3 4 months.
Right,
Talk
right.
like she don't believe in baby talk, none of that. I talk to him like he is a human being.
Hmm,
He
hmm.
understands like a human being, and that's great.
No, no, that's awesome, and that's awesome. I know it's like you said too, I guess, with the name thing too and stuff, because two things for me. Like, number one, for the longest, man, I remember, like, in my teenage years and stuff like that, doing my dirt, and that I got scared to the point I didn't think I could have kids. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, all these messed ups and whatever mistakes that I ain't, you know what I mean? Like, and I haven't had
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
And I think, like, he's like, you know what? It was God, like, helping me out, because again, like, I don't want to deal with no babies, mamas. I don't want to deal with, like I said, like, I want to get married to my wife. We have our kids. Like, that's the vision that I want to have. And I was lucky enough to have that. So, first I had my daughter. And it was just amazing, you know what I mean? Like, it's your first kid, and I kind of got used to that, because my sister had her first kids when I was 13, and it was just nothing but girls. She has three girls, 22, 19, and 6.
Woo!
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa, that six is kicking her butt.
Yeah, yeah. And it was crazy because, again, like, her and my daughter, they're about like a year apart, and I never thought that me and my sister would have a kid that close in
That
age.
close.
You know what I mean? Like, but it also was so exciting for me, because now it's more of a reason for me and my sister to get together more often. You know what I mean? Like, because we can get them to play, because that can kind of really grow that bond with us.
You want them to
Um,
be like you guys.
and then that, I mean, like, we had nothing but girls, and I was like, man, like, I need a son, because I'm as I said, it's just I'm the only other boy. You know what I mean? Like, so if not, then there's no more Cortezes after that. You know what I mean? And
Right,
then,
right.
and then we have my son, and he just turned 2 in April. And I just catch myself, like,
God
just
bless.
looking at him all the time. Thank you. And I just look at him like, I really got a son. Like, I really got a boy, man. And that's also more the drive of why I wanted to do this podcast, because, again, just like you, being raised by women and stuff like that, it was really hard to have a lot of real consistent male role model in my life like that. I had different uncles and different people who really did guide me in certain ways and help me out and try to teach me stuff like that, but it wasn't a dad like that, you know what I mean? Like, who's there 24/7, like I used to say, like, on TV shows, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. a Full House and all those stuff, or
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like
Family Matters,
yeah,
Uncle
Carl
Phil.
Winslow, Uncle Phil, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
those things were just like that's the type of dad that I wanted, and that's the type of dad that I want to be. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, so, having that, I was like, you know what, I need to reach out to all these as many men as I possibly can who do fit that description, who fall in that role model, to get their input, to get their advice, to help me raise my son, to give me pointers that maybe I didn't know, or maybe insight that I didn't understand before. And that's one of the things like too, like talking to speaker too, because you have three boys right now.
Yeah. Want a girl
So
so bad.
it is so different, man. It is completely different. Like my daughter, she was very loving. You know what I mean? Like whenever she was a little kid, I would fake cry, and you know what I mean, like all that stuff. And she would come and just really
Nurture.
be, yeah, just automatically so nurturing.
Mm.
And I tried that with my son. He just looked at me to step over me and stuff like that. Just like, dude, they do, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
um,
I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. He's expecting his daughter soon. And I was like, I'm so
Congratulations.
jealous. Yeah, and I was like, I'm so jealous. He was like, why? I'm like, I want a girl. I really do. He's like, for real? I'm like, I want to be that dad and get my toes painted. He's like, what? He's like, I ain't gonna lie, me too. He's like, he grew up around football.
Mhm.
He's been playing football. Masculinity has been his thing. He was like, to decompress and now have someone who wants to do something different. I'm all for it. I was like,
Mhm.
I tell my coworkers, my wife, like, listen, I want to be the guy with the commercial where you see the guy like he's doing cheerleading by
Mhm.
himself, but they can't see behind the wall. He's practicing with his daughter. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that would be me.
Absolutely, absolutely. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I do that with my little girl all the time. We'll play different things, and it's all this because it really it is night and day on how I interact with both of my kids. You know what I mean? Like with my daughter, it's just that, just so much love and so much caring, and also trying to be there more, and also like I am with my nieces, because again, like I've been with them since they were born. Like when I was 13, my sister had my first niece, and I held her for the first time. That's one of the first moments I realized like I want to be a dad. You know what I mean? Like that was just one of those moments that I
Mhm.
want to be a dad. And when her and when her and the girl's dad, they got divorced and stuff like that, I was like, I need to be there more often. I need to really keep a positive male role model in life, because I understood how that affected what girls growing up and stuff like that, not
Oh.
having a real dad and looking for love in all the wrong places, and
Hmm.
just going down this horrible path that I never want from any of my girls. You know what I'm saying? My nieces or my daughter.
Right.
So it's very important to keep that consistent presence there and be a positive influence on them. Um, and just like you said, with your three boys, stuff like that, for you, what are some of the traits or characteristics that you are trying to instill in your sons, or that you try to teach them on a day in, day out basis?
Um, Being honest is one, whether it hurts or not. Just be
Mm-hmm.
honest. Um, Again, once you lie once, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't believe you anymore. It's
Mm-hmm.
always like, is he telling the truth?
Right.
Um, Being honest is one. Whether you're in trouble or it's going to hurt someone's feelings. Again, you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but if you're in your truth, you can't go wrong. Like
Right.
that's definitely one. And I feel like when I speak, um, anything I say to you, I can say to whoever else. And that's not like a macho thing. That's just being who you are. Like you're not like uh, you're not trying to perpetrate or hide behind something. Anything I can say to you, I can say to anyone else, and vice versa.
Right. Right.
That's very important to me. Um, Again, to being the man of your word. If you agree to something, you follow it through, you see it through. And protect your name. Like again, like you said, until you had your boy, you were wondering, is this where the Cortez is in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like again, there's a million Cortezes, but there's no Freddie Cortez. You know what I mean? There's only one. It's you.
Right. Right.
You leaving everything to your son. So just protect it. Meaning like don't get involved with something that could hurt you or your brothers or your family. Um be honorable men. Um
Mm-hmm.
we were talking today because like my son, he has a tendency to, when he get around his friends talk different, and his friends talk to their parents differently.
Mm-hmm.
and he'll step out of that box. Sometimes I'll just look at him, like reel it back in,
Right,
and,
right, right.
and he knows. He's like, oh, okay. Because listen, I'm not going to embarrass you, but remember, you have to live by your morals, your principles. You can't live through your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Living for your friends will get you caught up and jammed up in a bunch of things you don't want.
No, absolutely, absolutely. That was one of the things for myself growing up, and I think maybe because of not having consistent father figure and stuff like that, like I really had a hard time finding myself and who I was. You know what I mean? I constantly, whether being around different groups of people, like I've said that I mastered the art of being a chameleon because again, you throw me in different environments and I knew very well how to blend in and adapt myself to appease that crowd that I was in.
Yes.
As I started getting older and stuff like that, I've started to really see that I was losing myself and who I really was because and not and that became very gray, you know what I'm saying? Like who I want to be, who I am, and who I'm showing are so
Three different
different,
things.
you know what I mean? And so blurred. And I was like, I need to really assign myself who I want to be and live that because I can't have that for my son. I don't want him to feel that pain that I felt, you know what I mean? Like or go through that or have that of losing yourself. And like I told one of my friends the other day, one of the things that my mom has constantly said to me and then that really started to sink in was she would always say, listen, I would rather people hate me for who I am than love me from who I'm not. You know what I mean? Like and I couldn't really, I guess,
Yeah.
grasp that
What?
for, you know what I mean? Like it was very hard for me to comprehend. But now I'm really understanding what she means, and I started to see that, when you are yourself and you stay true to who you are and you really have your thing, the other people that you wanted to be around, they're going to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're not fitting into their crowd. But the people that are like you and like-minded people that are really going to support you, they'll start to be able to find their way to you because you got rid of all this other nonsense that's in the area.
Right, right, right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think that that's very, like I said, you see that too, especially, I think and which I'm gonna throw it out there too. Like in a couple episodes down the line, I want to do one about the term "man up," and just how toxic that is to a lot of young men. Because um, I've just finished listening to this audiobook by Jason Wilson. I don't know if you know if you heard of him,
Not yet, no.
but he's just an amazing thing. The first thing that I came across him, the first time I seen him was I think it was on World Star like a few years ago. And he was teaching martial arts to these kids and stuff like that. And this kid is crying. I mean, like bawling.
So
And yeah, he was just talking about. He got down. He's like, it's okay. And I'm like, wait, a man is telling another, it's okay to cry. Like, wait, hold up, wait, hold on. Like this, I need to
yeah.
understand. And I started really following him, man. I mean, if you haven't, I think you and definitely with your boys, they should listen to his book. It's called "Cry Like a Man." And it took me a while to finish because it got so deep and really got into a lot of points in myself that I started to understand what
Mm-hmm.
it was to be to be locked in emotional incarceration, to really try to fit in and try to be macho to all these other people because of this stupid stigma that they try to create that really
Mm-hmm.
isn't the case. Um, so I would definitely, like I said, would like to sit down and hash out those terms. We can talk about that as well, and go on there, because it is just so important, especially for young men these days. And I think that's why they're kind of just
Yeah.
like all this. I don't sound so old at this, but like this kind of music they're putting out, and all these other, these rappers putting out this image and
Drug
this
music and all that. Yeah.
right, and it's just like this is so far from what we actually need to be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and really setting ourselves back so much. Um, so that's why it's just very important to get on that. So for you and your boys, you know what I'm saying, like, and trying to again raise them into young men, for you you think has been the most difficult part of raising three boys?
So like my 12-year-old, he is what women call the bonus son. I'm his stepdad.
Mhm.
Um and I will say he is coming into his own, but at the same time, he's like I think it's more of he's finding himself in his they have their own language. Like nowadays, kids have their own language, their own music, and it's like this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do, and I get that part. Um, and it was when we were young, it was the same thing. We're different from
Mhm.
the oldies. We were into like the hip hop, so I get that part. Um, I think it's more of the pushback because now, my personal opinion, these kids now are lazy.
Mm-hmm.
If things aren't given to them, they don't want
Right,
it.
right.
And trying to break him out of these bad habits is the only thing. Like a great kid, loves to smile and dance and have fun, but if he has to work for something, that's when it goes downhill.
Yeah.
And then my other, the middle child, which is my first child, um, I think I overcompensate because me and his mother didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him to feel like, oh, dad doesn't love me or whatever. So I overcompensate,
Right.
and it's a balance. I will find the balance, but as of right now, I know I do. And then the baby, I'm the punk dad is what they say, right? So like, my wife, she she's like, throw him in the pool, let him go. No, so many bad things in this world. No, you
Right,
like,
right, right.
she's like, we're right here. No, I'm not doing it. I don't want to push the comfort level. I keep him a kid, keep him a baby. She's like, no, you have to let him go,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll find his way. So it's three different kids with three different sets of issues, but um, as long as they know I love them and everything I'm doing is from a good place, I'm okay with that. I don't
Right.
mind being the bad guy. Like, me and my wife, like good cop, bad cop, and I'm 90% of the time the bad cop. I don't mind
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
that's how my dad was. So like my dad still peeks through me sometimes. Like I don't mind being the bad guy
Right,
as long
right.
as for a better cause. She's like, I'll be the bad person. And I'm like, you're too soft. Like, no, it's not, it just wasn't. But no, just I guess the pushback is the only thing that is the most difficult part um for me. I came from do what your mother says, they had grown folks'
Mm-hmm.
business,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and now kids are a lot more vocal and have a lot more to say back and opinionated. And when I grew up, it was very different from how my wife grew up. So that balance, we try to find that. That's 90%
Mm-hmm.
of our arguments, just because the way we grew up differently.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, it's funny how you said it because I mean, overall, myself, like me, I'm a very um like open and fun loving person, you know what I mean? Like I'm just very loving and very tender most of the part because again, just being raised by so many women, you know what I mean? Like I'm
mhm,
just more in tune with that aspect of it.
yeah,
And one of the main reasons that I love my wife and stuff that kind of drew me is that we're opposite in that she's very, straightforward and direct. She's very sure of herself, she's very strong. You know what I mean? Like and kind of like no nonsense. But it's funny because with our kids, our roles are reversed. You know what I'm saying? Like she's extremely tender, and you know what I mean? Like and I'm very, hard on them to a certain
yeah,
extent because again, you know what I mean? Like I don't want it to get out of hand because again, the same kind of background too that I brought up, you listen to your mom, don't talk back, don't do this,
mhm,
and all those kind of things. But I think that's kind of like the trouble that I'm trying to do. I guess my fear too, I mean, they're 5 and 2 right now, so I got a
mhm,
ways to go. But for me, not being able to speak my mind or, what I mean, like, or say what I was feeling and all those things, I don't want my kids to have to go through that. But then at the same time, it's like at the expense of kind of talking back to me or kind of being rude. Like I want them to be able to speak their mind and not be fearful. But again, I don't want them to take it out of proportion and think everything is sweet either. You know what I mean? Like, so it's very, I it's rough with that. You know what I mean? Like there's sometimes the other day, my daughter kind of gave my wife a little attitude in the shower. Like I did that already. And I come both like, what just came out your mouth? Like, hold up, hold up, like, hold on.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and she looked at me, she's like, oh my God. I was like, don't you ever talk to your mom like
yeah,
that. I'm like, you can say
yeah.
what you gotta say. There's a nice way to say it. If you don't want to do something like that. Yeah, you don't have to be forceful, but be respectful in how you say
Right,
things.
right, right. One of my good friends, he literally he not recommends, he encourages his kids to have dialogue. And
Mhm.
I think it's amazing, and I think it's disrespectful in the same breath. And me, like we have talks constantly about parenting because there's no book, there's no right way to do it.
Right, right.
It's all by experiences. And I watch, and his kids respect him just the way my kids respect me. And I'm like, how do you do it? He's like, well, I'm like you'll take something, and it's almost like they challenge you. He's like, no, I'm giving them the space to talk because I remember always being told to shut up and never to talk
Mm-hmm.
back. And I said, I remember that too. But when I hear it, it's like, oh my God. Like Mike one time, we were debating something. And I was talking like, why am I just going back and forth with you? Like, what? I'm the parent, you're the child.
Right,
And then
right.
and then I started to think like, I hated my mother would shut me down like that. I hated it.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, so that's difficult, man. So, and just kind of as we winding down here, I got two last questions for you.
Oh,
Then,
you're good.
um, number one for you, growing up, what do you feel was the best piece of advice that you received that you carry on to this day?
Oh, that's a good question. I want to say it was my grandfather. Um, he was just more of just be true to yourself. Don't like in life with relationships, with friendships, don't put anyone before yourself. Self-care is
Mm,
very important. If you can't love yourself, how can you love someone else? If you don't enjoy what you're doing, how can you express that? Like I love kids. I love sports. I love teaching kids how to play sports the right way. Life lessons behind sports. So I'm very passionate when it comes to that. And like what people don't know is 9 times out of 10, everything I have done for the kids voluntary, not a cent. And I see a lot of people out nowadays, it's about the money and it kills me inside. Because it's
mhm.
like, at what point are you sacrificing cutting corners for more profit?
Right,
Um,
right,
and I do think like people should make money off things, but when you're doing it for free, you you kind of tend to not cut corners.
right, right.
Um, and being true to myself, um, I won't I won't like I've been in situations even recently to where I am putting people's feelings ahead of mine, and it bites me in the butt. And then I first I get mad when I think about my grandfather. He told me this a long time ago. Like every time you push my head, it's going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
If it works or it doesn't, it's going to hurt. And I really believe that those words are true. Like and no matter what you do in life, if you put something ahead of yourself, your goals, anything ahead of yourself, you'll fall flat on your face.
No, definitely, and I will definitely attest to that because I know me personally, and that's been my biggest issue. You know, what I mean, I've always been a people pleaser and trying to, always make sure that everybody else is good. But then at the end of the day, like I'm so tired, I'm so hurt, I'm just so like always lost, like in a sense of that, who cares about me or what's going on because nobody shows the same appreciation or that respect on the other way, and actually my wife has been the one who really helped me a lot to get out of that because when we first started dating, going through all this, you just point out, she was like, why are you running to this person? Why are you doing this? And why are you going over there for them saying like what's going on? Like, when are you going to stop? And then and I would argue at first back, like, I'm saying like, oh, no, this is who I am. I'm just trying to be a good person. I'm trying to be nice,
Mhm.
stuff like that. But then I started to see like,
Yeah,
don't nobody really care, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just like no matter how good you are, the more they want, the more they're gonna take from you, and the
right.
less you have for yourself. So I think that's awesome, but that's very, very important. Like it is, just stay true to yourself and make sure that you always love yourself and take care of yourself first. Because if you don't do that, how you gonna help other people? Um, and that's something again that I've kind of learned over the last couple of years, really firsthand, and really started to see and started to make improvement in that. So that's very important to say. So thank you for that. And lastly, for yourself, man, if looking back at these kids and stuff like that, what's one piece of advice or something that you would like to share them to that you wish somebody probably would have told you?
um, so this is a two-part thing. Sorry. Um, with with that. So and I wish when I was in school, they had these business classes, they had these personal finance classes. Um, those two classes are so important. That it's not even fun. Like I work in the school system. People don't know, and I see kids. Well, I mean kids. I'll sit in the back of the classroom. I'll go in the classroom with them, and the stuff they're learning now. If I had that then, I'd be in a different space now. I think communication about money in the Black household needs to be uh, that needs to be brought to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm very like my kids know the power of a dollar, I would say, and they know they respect money. Um, Growing up, I see our parents worked hard, paid the bills. Whatever was left over, we'll do a little something, but that's it. And that's how I was growing up. Like you got heat, you got hot water, lights, you got a bed, roof over your head, you got clothes. Like I think I may have went to McDonald's maybe 20 times before I was 10.
Hmm.
My kids eat fast food a couple times a week almost. It's like,
Right, right.
but I say that to say like we didn't understand money. We were just like, oh, okay, like, oh, can we get this new in the store? Don't ask me for anything. That was real. That's
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
My 3-year-old, can I have we go in the store, he gets what he wants. He like, and it's not like oh, just because I can do it, you do it. It's more of a I don't know what it is, but I know budgeting money and credit that needs to be spoken in the house. That needs to be that those are things uh like how the Black family or the Spanish family is about church and God. That
Mm-hmm.
needs to be almost on that same level because when they get older, they need to know like this is life.
Right, right.
Yeah, like when we worked at Cablevision, I saw plenty of money coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, and that's like I said, I'll be in a different position because budgeting, no. And what is that? What is budgeting?
Right, right, right.
Yeah, like, oh, you talk credit. What? I got cash money. What do I need credit for? Like, you know what I mean? Now that we're turning, like me and my wife, we're turning the tide and we're ownership and stuff like that, you need credit.
Mm-hmm.
Your credit needs to be good. Like, and the people I am associating myself with, or I'm close to, or I'm hanging with, their lives are in order because of credit, and they know financing, personal finance with money and budgeting. They know that stuff already. I think that is the most important thing for kids to learn now. And I mean, I say kids, I mean like not mine, like 10, 12. I mean like eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th. They need to learn that then because to grow old and retire and be okay, for one, you can't be in Connecticut. But for
Right,
two,
right.
but for two, that's something you learn. And that's how you acquire generational wealth and stuff like that.
No, definitely. And it's funny you say that, man. I've learned that because again, seeing my mom and my parents struggle and stuff like that for money and stuff. And as I got older and you kind of started to understand, like I started asking myself, like, how do these people stay rich? You know what I'm saying? Like Bill Gates, or like how do they get rich? How do they stay rich? I don't understand that. And I worked on teaching myself that stuff because I
Yeah.
wanted better for myself and for them. And perfect example, like today, my daughter, man, I think of like the inflation, man. My daughter's lost like 6 teeth now, and she had like $60, man. I got her like 10. I was getting her $10 a tooth,
What?
you know.
How Bill
Um,
Gates stay rich? He didn't
right, you know. Um, but what I love about my daughter is that she understands money, you know what I mean? Like and I'm teaching her how to manage that. So kind of also about like just two quick things. Like I remember a while ago, my daughter was telling my wife, she's like, mom, like, stay home and stay with me, don't go to work. And my wife was like, well, I gotta go to work, I gotta make money so I could, buy you things and all this stuff. And my daughter went to her room and she's like, look, I got my tooth fairy money, man. Just take this here, mom. I'll share it with you, and you just stay home from work. And I was like, I love that because I always tell her, number one thing I teach my daughter, man, is people are so important. People come before anything. You know what I mean? Like I want her to love people, and anybody she sees in the streets, just say hi to. She is extremely, extremely friendly. And I love that because I don't want her to fall into all this racism and all that other stuff and stuff like that. Like just understand, love people for who they are because they're a person and they're important no matter what they look like or what it is. Um, And just today too, we were going to the store with her tooth fairy money, and she was going through things, and I'm like, all right, look for a toy that you want. Make sure you have enough money. Make sure you're gonna save something for it, to try to teach her to get comfortable with that now, to learn how to manage her money, so that she's comfortable with it, so that when she gets older, it's already second nature.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because with my also too, my like I said, I have two nieces, my 22-year-old and my 19-year-old niece. And my 19-year-old niece, at a very early age, man, just the way her mentality was just so different when it came to money and just about herself. Like I've always said, like, I'm never gonna have to worry about her. Like, she's good. Like, the way she carries herself and all that stuff, she's very strong and independent. And just recently, she just got herself her own car. You know what I mean? A 2018 car,
Right.
with her own money. She put the money down. She was like, oh, I only put this much down because if I put more down, it wouldn't make a difference on the payments, and I got the money for the insurance going on already. So I was like,
Right.
she's so well thought about with money and stuff like that. And I've always told her too, like, she's gonna be rich, because the way she handles money, how she thinks about it, is just phenomenal.
Right.
um so I give her so much credit for that. Now, I appreciate that, man. Thanks for taking the time to sit here and speak with me. I mean, it was a very, very insightful and awesome conversation, man. Thank you.
Yeah. No, my pleasure, man. You're doing great things, man. I definitely will be watching that. Before you reached out to me, I didn't know anything about it. I watched the last couple. The last gentleman you had, I think you guys sitting across from each other. It was a really good conversation.
Yeah, that's my twin. I know her since first grade, man.
Yeah, yeah, you guys. That was a good conversation, and I definitely will be watching and also um reposting and get more awareness to it.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to do my thing, man. I've that's trying to find myself in those times, like what I want to do and stuff like that. I think that kind of goes to, like you said, about doing with kids. Like me personally, man, I do. I love people, man. I want to make sure people are good. I love having conversations. I love talking to new people, stuff like that. They intrigue me,
Right.
because like I said, you can't experience everything in life. You know what I mean? There's so much to go in life, but the closer you get to a share conversations with people who get that insight, get that point of view, and I'm saying, you'll expand and broaden your mind.
Yeah.
Um, and I couldn't figure out what to do, man. But that's why, like I said, you know what? Like, I'm doing this because I love doing it. You know what I mean? And getting to know people. I'm not trying to look for the dollar, and that's gonna come. And that's the same thing that you said about you. When you do something genuine from your heart that you love and you care about, and you stick at it, that money's gonna come. Don't
Yeah.
worry about that. That is second nature. That the money is just a tool to help you do other things. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, it's not what you need to make yourself happy. Um, so just like you do that too, like with the kids and stuff like that, I mean, continue with doing what you're doing with them. Like I said, I watch you from a distance, seeing how involved you are and stuff like that, and just the type of role model and stuff like that, and present that you are leaving in all these young kids' lives is absolutely amazing. So keep doing your thing as well, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, man. Well, thank you. And as always, everybody, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, your big brother loves you. Stay blessed.